The timeline with me and Lelouch. It was a very long time. Very long time ago. So, as you know, Lelouch V. Britannia is known as Prince Charming of the anime community, and everybody loves Code Geass. Code Geass is my favorite anime of all time. It literally gave me so much life experience, so much perspective. My brother never liked Code Geass. And literally, there's so many things about that explains life you don't understand. Steve Zoe never liked Code Geass. All that things that Code Geass have to do is what maturity is. People say that it's actually immature to like Code Geass, that rips off Troy's stuff, but Code Geass literally separates somebody who's gonna get it done versus somebody who has an unhealthy obsession. Because Death Note is a really depressing show, and it shows a whole lot about people and like why they really think it's strategy. Because I'll break it down like this. I was gonna say this for the video, but I'm gonna discard it. I'm sorry. This is one of my biggest tokens. I'm gonna discard it. I was gonna say this for a debate, an anime debate, whether it would be in person or online. I could have made really a lot of profit off of this line. When it came to, I could have broke down Death Note versus Code Geass, which one is better, because I can tell you why Code Geass is better right now. This is something I was saving when I was still an anime fan. I have to tell you, I'm going to discard it now, because what anime has turned this world into is not what it should be. There was a huge ass misconception that anime was social. Literally so much shit going down. Having Lisa and fucking Fire Force, this shit really is tragic. And the real meaning why is that even before, it wasn't even anime's fucking fault. Fucking my brother's generation used to think like this. They used to prefer Death Note over Code Geass. And you all know the significant difference is Death Note claims to be an anime that's all about strategy, when Light never had to face multiple people with a Death Note, let alone his father with a Death Note. I was gonna save that line, Lily. That would have made me such a big anime fan, but I'm really gonna discard it in order to improve my lifestyle and to inspire other people why you have to pay attention, why it's not the same anime it was back in the day. We have watered down anime now just to keep us content instead of actual anime that inspires us, and that's the reason why you have to realize that is a token. This is literally something that I'm giving out right now, something I used to hold on to that I let go, and it's for a good reason. There's a lot of things that I let go of, and it's for a really good reason. So let's get into the topic of today's video. Somebody who pretends to be more of a Code Geass fan than me, somebody who does portray it but doesn't even know any single thing about like real strategy, a jokester that claim he is the biggest strategist. This is one of my biggest rivals in life, for why I did not fuck with this person, why I stopped fucking with this person, was because this literally shows me why character is so fucking strong, because this dude is the definition of his own character. Everybody in the Arrow has some uniqueness to themselves. Akari, Trigger, Sabo, they're all unique, but this guy came around when I was stronger at the time, but I wasn't given stronger credit, but he was a newcomer at the time. So here's how season 3 of the Arrow played out. So I'm the reason why we have Arrow season 3. That's the insider. But it didn't matter, because when you live life, you realize that literally, it didn't matter, like literally, about the ins and outs, because everything that accumulates to that lets you know that that's not all it was. Because once you experience everything, it's like that was what it fucking was, and it was nothing more. You understand what I'm talking about as I get into the video, because me being the CEO of season 3 didn't mean shit because of the way I was treated. If it wasn't for me, we wouldn't have these 2 other seasons of the Animation Rap League. I'll link the channel in the description. I'll also link Lelouch's channel. But here is the thing. So Lelouch is my Lily as an adult, like Lily, how I grew up and everything. Lelouch is the closest thing to a cousin Chip out of anyone in the Arrow. If you go watch the Arrow live stream, Lily, we're watching Rody Kitchen, Lily, Lelouch is the only one that keeps up with me, and he's right under me where it comes to like hood anime dialogue. There is a million things wrong with this picture, but there's so many things right with this picture. It's not even funny, and I really wish I could. There was a time where I could just hit Lelouch and talk about anything, but now it's not one of those times. And that's the same reason why I had to discard that, is because Lelouch was a guy who I brought into Arrow. So here's how I did it. I networked with these 2 anime rappers who were famous for making tracks, called Bacon Boy and Dominic. So Bacon Boy and Dominic literally I found him. I commented on the channel, do you want to join the ARL? And that's how I got season 3 started, by networking with somebody else who makes anime tracks. And nobody criticized Baker because his track, even though it sounded like a track flow, like, they fucked with him because he had constructive criticism and he had songs on paper. Baker had to make sure that his flow in general was good enough to be on paper, so the devil got in my head that he held up to a standard, and that's why they're iffy about my flow. I beat Baker off screen, but that's because he was a student and I was the master, but it really didn't matter because I chose not to fight Baker in the ARL Season 3. And literally, it's because I did not want to hear them, because I knew I didn't change my flow, but I had better lyrics, and it didn't matter. I discarded that because I'm like, no, I can't. Like, that battle would have made me mid-tier, that battle would have made me everything. I had scheduled for the ARL, but I decided to do it in another league just because I couldn't do it. And, you know, Baker Boy has a lot of perspective. I'm the one who brought him in. And so here's how Baker Boy really becomes season champion. I brought Baker and he was undefeated. He still is undefeated. So he faces a guy who I was talking to, whose name is Lelouch. So everybody loves Lelouch on Skype, back when it was Skype days. Jamal's favorite anime was Code Geass. A lot's favorite anime is Code Geass. And so when I talk to this dude, he's cool. So Lelouch wears an afro, he's dark skinned, he really is rugged. He reminds me of one of my freaking OG, you know, brethren, but at the same time, he is a little ass kid, so I have this very diverse timeline with him because he keeps it real on the side, but when it comes to a running gag in the ARL, he will never pick my side. And it infuriates me because he's the one with the most potential, because I've seen what he can do literally when he tries. When he's on a time skip and he's ready to battle, Lelouch is the strongest opponent when it comes to punchline. He is pure comedy, and I always have better flow, but when it comes to consistent comedy, he's great. But I always have like haymakers, so me and him are on 2 different levels, but he definitely has something that literally challenges mine, and it's called utmost consistency. I'm sorry, where it comes to literally hood dialogue, Lelouch used to be better than me. Back when Demon Slayer just came out, I'm like, yeah, I'm on that one episode. He's like, that nigga nasty, you know. Oh my god, I could not compete with Lelouch back in the day because I was a fake cousin chip. What made him have all that swag is literally discipline, and you know, because I thought he was going to work in school, so I don't know what the fuck he was doing, and he beat me with one line when fucking I was trying to do a versatile Roki, and I had Raya's block, and literally, he had that bucket of water line. I'm like, what the fuck? This is all off screen, by the way, so I'm looking at him, I'm thinking that he's an OG and shit. Literally, the way he's commenting, he schooled me at Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. I'm like, you look like Cyrus because he has an afro and he wears glasses. I told him, you look like Cyrus. He's like, oh, hold up, Chudley, you Boy Scout ass nigga with the fucking grilled cheese, fucking fat ass Chudley ass nigga, motherfucking dad coming through. Real niggas don't stuff the hot sauces, but the alcohol and Japanese, boy, get your ass back here. Murky with the drunken fist, boy. How about that? And I started rolling, but at the same time, if you actually know, I'm not fat. And literally, that's the biggest misconception. When I'm talking about continuity, oh my god, Lelouch destroys me when it comes to continuity and nods to anime. He's actually into the anime community like me, and that's why he was like mid-tier, go through all that shit. But I'm here to tell you what makes him different and why I can't talk to him civil. Do you understand that, Lily? That route was everything I was lacking in life, that consistent style, that everything, that shit didn't come until I started working out, until I started understanding serious decisions. But what I realized what he had over time was how he learned how to make all those jokes and like appear to be something that he wasn't, was due to literally this thing called momentum, hanging around multiple people and getting multiple styles over time. I thought he thought of it all by himself, but I realized that you can gain that same style. What he was doing is he was trying to learn how to be like me, and I learned over time. I thought he grew up, I thought he was just an OG, but his hair turned gray because back when I was killing shit, when I was getting paid by rappers and shit, when I was going hard for rappers and shit, I knew he was a part of the ARL, and what the ARL was doing to Lily, what he did was he literally fucking showed me what a true archetype was by Lily. Showing me that he has this and that. So what is Lelouch isn't that nasty. What makes him nasty is the fact that he is 100% in his archetype. Because back when I was first getting into Yu-Gi-Oh, he told me, he's like, bro, do you even have a chain? I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm trying to show you this is how he did and stuff like that. Like, literally. So he drove me to the side, trying to tell me this and that. He's like, are you sure you know how to play Yu-Gi-Oh and shit? Like, and I tried to tell him, and if it actually came down to it, I would murk fucking Lelouch because of how I structured my deck, and I was actually competing with regional decks. But when it comes to actual knowledge of the situation, when it comes to the actual continuity of the shit, he knows way more about Yu-Gi-Oh! He watches anime. He has no, downtime. He watches isekai after isekai. So me, I'm the slice of life, and he's the isekai guy. So like me and him are two black guys who talk off screen. So we're two niggas talking about anime. He's hella chill and I'm hella chill, and he's the closest thing to Cousin Chip in the arrow. But what turned me apart is over time I realized you're just a little ass kid. But you know why it's so infuriating? This is something you gotta figure out about people over time. You see how he's so like calm, cool, and collect like a character, and how everything is self-defining for him. There's a thing with Lily. It's called dwelling in your own shit, and that's what he is. That's what he is 100%. He's this what my cousin Chip is if he was a piece of shit. He's not actual like real go hard for life. Where he is he's a lazy ass guy, but he makes the best out of the situation. That's where he gets that swag from. He's just like me. He's just smoking weed, watching anime all day. That's where he gets that swag from because he's content. But he's more of a nerd than me, meaning he goes all out where it comes to anime community. Like he knows more about Yu Yu Hakusho and me and shit. Like so, he is on that note, but he has no knowledge of shit outside that. That's why he gets stuck in fucking his fantasies and shit. It's the reason why he gets stuck in his fantasies is the reason why he believes his own bullshit. It's the reason why this and that. But that never outweighed me. But that did, was a heavy gaslight on me. I was always on another level, but I was always wondering, why is he sound so OG? And the devil told me, we're all growing up, Lelouch is 20 and stuff like that. I know you weren't something like that in your 20s because you were in public school and shit. The devil was really getting in my head while I was thinking about how does he have this consistent style? Like, he wasn't like this in the arrow. And that's when it hit me. That shit is on purpose. When you really realize, like, somebody having this transformation when you just throw to the side, you get to know somebody. No, that's not what it is. He's ghetto by default because his mom is more black than mine, and it's in his genetics. And when he watches anime hella high, he's just really, really irresponsible, and he watches isekai after isekai after isekai. He watches way more anime than me. He doesn't really have a sense for anime like me, so he's content with anything, but that's what backfired on him over time. He is the definition of substance. So when me and him always have calls, is hella crazy. I'm always able to compete with him. I always tell him I'm better, but I'm not always on guard. And that's why I forgot about people. People literally go 100% 24/7 when they try and socialize and shit. And Joe, like when they're trying to impress people, I'm thinking that people are so like back and shit like that. When they have that clever shit, it means they're trying. And I thought that this shit was natural. And then later on, I realized he only had that bar with Todoroki saying that I had a bucket of water because he was high. And I was trying to write when I was sober, and before I got to smoke, I literally told him, I'm like, bro, fuck it, I want to change my character. And she's like, bro, I would have roasted you, but I wasn't even high. But when I was high, I came up with some shit like, because I was Todoroki, right? I told him, like, literally, while I had a chance to write, I'm like, I'll turn you into a popsicle and feed you your stone. And so that is really, 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 really crazy. So this nigga was my brother throughout when I was trying to survive and shit. I played Fire Z with him all the time. At first, he was really better at Fire Z, but after I created my own style at Fire Z, he couldn't see me anymore. So literally, he knows how to play the game better than me, but because I know my own style better, I'm able to beat him every time now. But literally, so I learned over time that what he was doing was full of shit, and I learned that about people literally. He is a real one. He's the only one who watches Boruto nowadays. Me and him are the only ones in the era that watches Boruto. My bro, you still keep up with Naruto. He is so mature. So what he is literally, he is a childish man with mature aspects. And that is why me and him have the most dynamic, relationship. And literally, he's crazy. So he does have his moments of shine and stuff like that. And what happened was, I felt like over time he was so content in the arrow. He really is an expanded individual where it comes to literally knowledge about anime. He is a Dragon Ball Z store, and there only a few, me, Sabo, Akari, only a few people in the arrow even watch Dragon Ball Super. When it first came out, some people watched Dragon Ball Super later and shit like that, but in reality, me, him, Garbo, everyone else was known as to try hard for anime, to go hard for anime, because we watched Super where everybody was complaining about animation. Like, we always stood out. We still keep up with current anime, me and Lelouch. It's like me and him always talk about literally everything every single day. And I haven't talked to him in so long one-on-one because he is so arrogant. He knows how complex my storyline is. He knows the relationships literally and how hard I've worked to protect him. But he still wants to play this dumb shit like Emo Uzumaki and shit. Always try to belittle literally the outside shit. The shit that literally he knows the complexity of life and he ignores it. But not to the stone extent, but what he does is he is really, really, really ignorant. When we're telling him to be street smart, when we're telling him to be discreet, he ignores everything and he tries to put everything his way. And what makes Lelouch such a bad contender and why he was the closest thing but he wasn't is the reason why he fails to me where it comes to life, because he literally focuses everything. He is that archetype. He isn't Super Smash Bros. Or anything, and that's why me and him are so fucking similar. He thinks just like me. He loves the same thing I do. He sings Japanese openings just like I do. When it comes to people I can relate to in the air row, he is the most. But where it comes to actually showing up, when I need that concrete social validation, when I'm trying to get him to cooperate, he treats me like a retard every single fucking time. But offline, he's my boy to the fullest. I'm like, oh my god, this shit is so out there. Are you so fucking retarded? Like last time I tried to talk to him, I tried to tell him how the air row should come back, but how we should have to pay the members, because that's what keeps splitting people up, because we think that anime and rap aren't fucking going together. I keep on trying to tell him. I mentioned, like, literally, we have 12 episode anime specifically for us to make battles and stuff like that, and they didn't deny it. But what they did deny is, like, can I get your cooperation? He's like, Riz, can I talk to the people you're networking with? I'm like, what the fuck? I told him first thing. I told him everything. I told him all that complexity. And he's like, well, all I want to do is talk to him. And then I started to roast him. I'm like, cool, I could roast you. I can use your style. But I'm trying to get business style. I'm trying to focus. You have a bad reputation of playing recordings where people write for battles and shit. I keep on trying to tell him that, and he still didn't listen until everything's fucking, like, definite on paper. And I'm all like, bro, you're making a horrible fucking mistake, because this is a discipline thing. You can't let things escalate. You have to continue training. You have to literally take this shit seriously. You have to observe the complexity, because if not, then you're not going to beat me in the battle. Flat out, period. If you're not willing to think as complex as me, how the fuck you think you're going to beat me in one of the most complex aspects of life? He is a Moen Isekai fan, and that's what keeps him a little kid. Because his anime has those standards is why he's a little fucking kid. And that is the reason why, like, literally, he appears to be mature on the outside, but literally, on the inside, he is just a little kid. That's the crazy thing about me, and he has had moments. Do you know Aquafina, who's getting her own video? It's slowly approaching. There was a time where I was trying too hard in front of Aquafina. I admit this, because Aquafina literally caught me literally talking to these guys. He's like, he has another friend who watches anime, who's black just like him, who talks and says nigga just like him. And so literally it was crazy because he starts singing the Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's opening, my heart feels so alive. And I didn't even like Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's. I hated trying to watch Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's. I really did. You know, I think I was kind of I have no idea, because literally I was not into the idea of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. I feel like they ripped off Yu Yu Hakusho and fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! I feel like they made a Yu-Gi-Oh! versus a Yu Yu Hakusho. I wasn't feeling it, because I felt like GX was more original. And for GX was really more original, I feel like they really started the series by, like, literally trying to make a reference at all. And, like, literally, it literally tore me apart. I didn't even like the song, but because Aquafina was watching, he's like, my heart feels so alive, my heart beats. And at the same time, we sing in hyperdrive. That is horrible. Never do that. Never. That's what made me somewhat of a bear back then. That doesn't, you in denial like that, something you don't even like, but you sing along just because you're trying to appear to be social in front of her. I'm telling you, like, that was literally the bane of Reese's roast. Like, at Lisa's roast, that was the bane of it. It literally, you don't have no idea how insecure I felt, because Lelouch, I knew I was better than him at life. I was more famous. I had a way more social thing going on, but where it came to consistency and just the little things, Lelouch always made me feel insecure, because I could always talk to him, but then at the same time, you have to realize that's unproductive, and that is the biggest dynamic of our relationship. It really would, if I kept it cool for Tori for fucking 7 and didn't expect shit for him and just rolled the stupid shit, it's the fact that I have to take the L of pretending to be a retard in a fucking chat instead of being real, you know, instead of literally treating me like the intellectual properties that I bring. You literally fucking try to label me a retard all the fucking time. Literally, if I would have just took the little hit, I would have been able to talk to Lelouch's consistency, and me and him are so real on two different levels, it's not even serious. But it's the same reason why he's not willing to think complex, is why his life is an oxymoron. He chose his name Lelouch so he doesn't think complex. And that is why your style is pure comedy, and you try to call yourself Lelouch, you're not even calm, cool, collect, you're none of that shit. I'm trying to tell you, and it really, really destroys me inside, because him and me are different. Like, I appear very mature, like literally where a child is upbeat attitude, and he appeals like really like granddad OG, like OG, but with too many childish aspects. You get what I'm saying? We're almost like completely different dynamics. He is really nasty with the pen. He's really big on punchlines, but I'm really big on flow. And he has flow too, but his flow would never amount to me because, you know, not only is that because I'm a dancer, it's also because, like, literally, I focused on my flow ever since I was young. So me and Cool Lelouch have the biggest dynamic relationship, but he will not keep it real. It doesn't matter what it takes. He will always try to keep me low tier, and he'll always treat me low tier, even if I did achieve high tier. That is just the way he is. He literally will hop on the bandwagon. He literally shares the ignorance of Livingstone, but he has way more character to him. But at the same time, he is literally the biggest kin in the ARL, in honesty. But his outer appearance is literally up being OG, and like literally, but it really is fucked because me and him are so fucking chill. Me and him could kill a cousin. He literally is the nastiest in the era, right next to me, and I can't really stress enough why he lost his potential already. I'm not gonna go into why I already fucked the ARL up and why literally I've proven that they need me more than I need them, and they're gonna be complete shit without me. Literally, it really is true, but it's all because of Irvin, all because of Cool Lelouch. So why he won't grow up, and literally, and it's because he is so concrete with his anime. It's the same reason why he won't admit reality where it's in the chat. And I can't deal with somebody at that age, because even though he'll be consistent somebody to talk to, and we both get high and shit, we both do this and that, it really fucking sucked. But at the end of the day, you have to go with responsibility, so I'm sorry. If this is the versus battle, I already scraped him, but at the same time, like, Cool Lelouch was my rival, but he'll never ever be my rival again because he stopped developing just to literally lay back and just talk shit, and I can't do that. I don't devote myself to talking shit. If anyone's wondering if why he keeps his shit consistent, I'm like, dude, I can twice as much style if I want to, but why would I do that? I'm not doing that second nature because I'm so used to people who accept me for who I am. I don't have to put on this front 24/7. So when he tried to come at me, I made him fucking cry last time in a fucking crawl, literally. His voice got quiet and every fucking thing. Like, where's your comeback? Where's your comeback? After he tried to deny my offer, I roasted the fuck out of him just to show him I can, and that's why it's the point. It's the same reason why you keep on asking dumb questions while I'm roasting the fuck out of you. It's the same reason why we're having this delay on paper.